Okay, so I was supposed to have some kind of dramatic intro there, but I kind of lost it on the way in. So we're gonna do this a little different. Can you see me? Kind of a little different than the regular podcast where it has that kind of, what is it, the photo where I'm kind of, I forget what I was doing, but oh, that was it, because I was trying to kind of cover my crotch for the photo so that it didn't look kind of funky looking. So this podcast, which is for July, which ends in about 3 hours from where I am, so I figure you guys, the majority of you guys are probably about 8 or 9 hours behind me, so I figured if I get my button gear, I'll actually still make it for July for you, and apologies because again, I left it right to the end of the month, and the reason was, we've actually been on the road for the past 2 weeks, and the first week I was incredibly jet lagged and really didn't do too much. And then the past few days we were in a conference running around like crazy, so did not manage to get any work done. Today was the first day that I was able to sit down, stop, and try to sort through a bunch of the photographs and stuff that I had taken over the past week or two, and to get kind of structured and organized. There was also some other business kind of stuff I had to sort out and work on for future things as well, so it took up pretty much the whole day, and it is approximately 10 minutes to 9 where I am in Europe right now. So no, this is not my house, this is actually the room that we are renting, which is, I don't know, I can probably, yeah, there we go. Almost touch it. Like there. Has 4 walls, 1 door, and 1 very small window. So, what have I been up to for the past, actually we're gonna do, as I said, we're gonna do this a little differently because I'm gonna record it live, hopefully in such a way that I have to do absolutely no editing, because typically the podcasts take me an entire day to do, and that is way, I just don't have the time right now to kind of record it or script it or write it or record it or edit it or edit out all my bad words and stumbles and this, that and the other. So I'm going to try desperately to talk straight to the camera, which again is something I'm really not used to. So talking straight to you guys about everything we're doing. I probably shouldn't wave my hands around too much either, because that might look funny. So I'm going to put the timer on here. Actually, first of all, I'll tell you where we are. To give you a little hint, there was a little guidebook that was left here. So right now I'm in Budapest, and I've been reading Rick Steves' book and stuff, so it's actually a pretty good book for travel. But what I'm going to talk about this time, I'm going to limit it to 10 minutes, and we will start the 10 minutes from now, and we will start talking. So basically, where have I been since we left the US? Well, I spent an entire week in Prague, jet lagged and not doing anything really, except for I did get a little trim up. I went out and we visited the American barber, Kyle the American barber in Prague. We did it as a little side piece. I don't want to say side piece because it was an entire cleanup, which I kind of sort of needed and stuff, and he's a really fun guy to talk to. So if you're ever in Prague and need a haircut, you should go and see him because he's really funny. Hardcore Trump supporter as well, which is kind of edit, cut, carry on. Spent a week in Prague trying to sort some stuff out. Met another really nice woman, barber, and we're going to be going back to Prague in the end of August to actually film with her. She's actually trying to set something up for me, and that will be what we're really looking for when we're trying to film these barber shops. But I'm going to keep that one secret for now, just in case it doesn't pan out. Either way, we'll film with her as well, which is a really good, I think a little different and unique, which is what this whole channel is about. So after that, we were at a conference for a couple of weeks, couple of days, and that was pretty intense. A lot of running around, a lot of doing stuff, and talking to people, and also talking to some people who potentially can help us with some other future projects and stuff in Europe. Not this year, it'll probably be next year, but I can see that there's going to be the potential of something good out of that. So, cut a long story short, bing, zoop, zap, whoosh, whatever it is people do to do these transitions, I am not sure, but I think it was like last time, or maybe the time before, or I may have thought it, but not actually told you about it. But I was going to give you guys a little talk about how we used to plan for travel, because I think over the period of uploading these videos and doing some things, and people have asked questions like, where'd you get your money from, and this, that, and the other. Last time I kind of talked a little bit about the economics of YouTube, and I am one of the lucky ones in that respect, although it's not enough, as I said, to kind of 100% fund everything. The rest I get from Mystery Woman. And no, I don't. We actually worked jobs and saved it up, and that's how we're doing it pretty much. With the exception of you wonderful people that are donating some money, which we use to pay for the video editing software subscription, which would be pretty pricey without your help. Thank you very much. That kind of sound, cut. That sounded really weird. Okay, let's try that one again. Cut. No, maybe I shouldn't try that because it just sounds kind of weird. So, back to what I was going to talk about. So, during the early days of the YouTube channel, then we were both working full-time jobs, and no, we were not financially independent. No, we did not have a trust fund. Yes, we had to work real jobs, but it also meant, as you guys know, in the US, you typically only get 2 weeks vacation, especially people like me that work on, have been working on contracts. So you'll get 2 weeks vacation, and it's not even paid vacation. And so the question is, how did we pick the locations? How did we pick the destinations that we were going to travel to? And these are some basic travel tips, I guess, you can use for yourselves for wherever, whenever. So basically it falls down into a couple of steps that address the 3 main elements of travel. One is the flight. 2 is is it 2 or second? Dos. I'll go for dos. That sounds even bad. Cut. One is for flights, 1 is for the accommodation, and 1 is for that yummy stuff you stuff in your mouth every day. Food. Food is the 3rd most important thing. And so when I'm looking at it, what we did is we have a wish list of places to go to. So basically, you guys all know I went to Peru, or we went to Peru. But the thing is that we didn't wake up that year and go to Peru. That wasn't how it worked. We had a list of countries or destinations, and they're on a little wish list. And I'm constantly tracking the price of tickets to those locations. So essentially each year we'll look through, or when we only had 2 weeks vacation, I would look through the list of places, whether it be, for example, I think we had Peru, Italy, and Paris was on the list all at the same time at one point. And I would be tracking the flights, return flights for the same dates that I would be able to go on vacation to those locations, so I could track the actual cost of the flights out and return to those on whatever airline, whatever route. So I would know exactly what those cost. So the next cost would be accommodation. So then I would do a search for those dates in those locations for a average cost or a typical cost of a hotel. Depending on the country, depending on the place, we would look So typically in Europe, if we're in a single location for a couple of weeks, then we'll go for something like an Airbnb or something. Or if we're moving around, we typically look for little privately held hotels. In Europe, I would try to squeeze it for a 4-star, mainly because that's typically a 2-star or 3-star in the US. You hit these issues of private bathrooms and things still. So I kind of get a rough idea of what it would cost going for something that has the basic things that we need, which is a bed, a shower, private bathroom, and if it's an Airbnb, something like a washing machine and forget about a dryer. They don't even have dryers in Europe. But see what you can get your best for your buck type of thing in each country. So doing each of the 3 countries. And then I would take an average cost per night and multiply it by the number of nights to give a total estimated cost of accommodation for each location. Then I would look at food. So I would do it in 2 ways. I would look at some general restaurants or fast food or what have you. It could be not grocery store, because I typically would probably shop at a grocery store and eat from there. But I'm kind of one to look for an average cost of a meal, 1 meal a day, or what the cost of breakfast is at the hotel or whatever, wherever it is that we're planning to stay, or where I looked at. And then I would multiply that by the number of days. Then I could get the total cost of flight, accommodation and food per destination and come up with 3 totals. Normally, there is one of the totals are way off the Richter scale, way out there. So the most expensive one, bam, that's gone. It's off the list and it's on the wish list again. Then it will come down to whatever the choice is. If they're very close, cost of each destination or whatever is very close, then it'll come down to personal preference. Or if 2 are way off the scale and 1 is affordable, then that is what we will go for. And essentially that is it. The average cost per day that I aim for the 2 of us is $100. So if that's so basically that would be $100 a day for food and accommodation, plus any other little expenses that we have. So I'll add up the food and accommodation and divide it by the number of days. Whoa! I guess that was 10 minutes. I will stop here. Okay, I'm kidding. I'll finish my sentence first. I will finish my thought and wrap this up. But so basically $100 a day is my ultimate goal wherever I travel. It doesn't matter if it's in Europe, Central, South America, Mexico, it does not matter. It's $100 a day. And for food and accommodation, as I said, normally what I'll do is we'll try and find something like an Airbnb with a small kitchen and a washing machine and a private bathroom. Because some of these Airbnbs actually separate the rooms and you share the other space, which is not what I'm into. And I have totally lost my track of thought there. Cut. $100 a day. I know I was there. So $100 a day is my goal per day for accommodation and food. And that will be, typically I'll be eating out or rather buying groceries at a grocery store or buying cheap food and kind of save some of the money for some special treats here and there. And then the rest will be the flight. I think I need to cut right there because I've lost my train of thought again. But and then the flights, what I typically do is I'm looking at, I'll track the flights, like I said, over a period of time using things like Google Flights, just to keep an eye on them. But I will typically buy the flight ticket directly from the airline. And the reason why I do that is because if you have to make a change, or some airlines like British Airways, if you buy that flight on some third-party, you know, ticketing company like Booking.com or one of the, you know, one of these other is that a word? You know what I mean? Where they pull it all in, and then that company is the one that does the transaction. Then you can't do things like do your seat assignment and things like that, or check-in. It makes it more complicated, and sometimes they force you to be doing the check-in and the seat assignment during the 2-hour window when you're going for the flight, so it becomes kind of a little complicated. So I always buy a flight ticket directly from the airline to maximize the benefits of, you know, customer service benefits, etc. from that. Cut. Hotels, I tried to buy the accommodation directly from the hotel, whether it was a chain or a boutique or a privately owned and operated hotel, just because essentially if you go on Booking.com and you see them selling a hotel room for a price, the hotel that's advertising on Booking.com is going to lose, you know, 10-15% of whatever that price. And so you can often just go straight to the hotel and say, hey, I saw it on there, can you give it to me at a slight discount? And then they will, well, I'm not saying they will, but they may or may not give you a slight discount below what Booking.com is advertising it for, because they're essentially going to get the same amount of money anyway. So it's kind of try it, see what happens, and stuff. Although I probably told you too much there. Boop, boop. Cut. You know what? My whole plan was to do this in 10 minutes straight, and I think I'm not. I am going to be editing this one anyway. So if you see all these jumps, like boop, 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 that's why. So anyway, I think my 10 minutes is up. I got to get this edited and uploaded and shared with all you guys. But if I kind of triggered any more questions about this, that, and the other, about how I plan the trips, then just write a question down in the Patreon page there below the video here, and I will do my best to answer that as quickly as possible. As I said, we are on the road right now, and we're gonna be running around Budapest. Actually, tomorrow we're going to be working, you know, so we literally got into Budapest last night in the evening, spent the whole day today doing nothing but working in the Airbnb that we're in right here. Tomorrow we're going to be doing the same. Tomorrow evening I am running over to a barbershop to talk to some people. Have an appointment at tomorrow evening, so I'm going to go and talk to them and do a little bit of filming. There is a place I got a tip off of a place with an old guy in it somewhere around Budapest, and I have no clue where it is, and nobody seems to know anything about it. And so I'm trying to see if there's any way I can locate that, because I think that will be the perfect place for us to do another video. I have absolutely no idea if that will pan out. So, to wrap this up then, I will say thank you to all of you Patreon subscribers. That's all wonderful 14 of you, because you guys are the only ones that are going to see this. So thank you very much, and please get a bunch of questions down there. Help me get my creative juices going here, and I will do my best to answer them all as quickly as possible. And I will have actually tell me if you want to have a more detailed kind of video podcast. Is that what you call this one? So just tell me if you want more of what kind of things I've been doing, or what we've been doing on this particular trip while we're trying to film, or if you want other things in these monthly updates and stuff. Just put it all down and I will get to it in the meantime. Thank you very much, and I will talk to you all soon. Have fun. Bye.